Disappointed, aren't you? Don't you worry. We've got Dinesh Karthik and Harsha Bhogle to make some sense of what's just happened. They'll make sure the next 20 minutes at least are worth the time that you will spend watching Cricbuzz live. Well, the match has been called off. It was going to be a tricky chase or a tricky performance from an India perspective. Only 266 on the board. No play possible, unfortunately, with so much rain coming down. It is frustrating for players as well as for us fans.
Anticlimactic. We all expected the build-up and the fact that there would be a result, because there's a lot to look forward to from both teams, more so from India's point of view. They haven't been playing so much ODI cricket, and then it ends up in this dull, damp squib, which I'm very used to. These days, there's a lot of matches which are being called off, where I was at least. So it just feels like we all knew at the back of the mind that rain could always play a part, and in Sri Lanka, when it does rain, it pours. So true to its saying, it was another day where it got rained off.
It'll be frustrating for the selectors as well, Harsha, because they would have been looking for some answers from the Indian bowling perspective, but I suppose they'll have to wait a little more.
Look, Bumrah is always going to be in. Pandya is always going to be in. Jadeja is always going to be in. Kuldeep is always going to be in. The one player they would have wanted to look at was Shardul, because I think Shardul has a point to prove, but there's nothing you can do here. I mean, what was interesting was while it was raining, we were starting to think, okay, what is Duckworth Lewis turn saying? At 36 overs, it was 226 or something like that,
Yep.
which seemed a tricky score. Then a 20-over game target was 155. You get 20 overs, 155. So I think at that point, Pakistan were ahead, 20 overs, 155. But these things happen. When you play a tournament in Sri Lanka at this time of the year, you should expect some rain.
Do you like DLS?
It is the fairest system of all the systems that are there. There hasn't been a fairer system than DLS. It took a long time to become good over 20 overs. It took a long time to become good over 50 overs, let's be honest, but it was better than every other system at the time. Then it got refined. It became a good 50-over system. It was way off the 20 overs. I mean, if you remember in the 2009 World Cup that was played in England, it was delivering sort of average run rate scores. So if a team made 180 in 20 overs, the 10-over target was 90 with 10 wickets in hand. So it started delivering those scores because of an inherent flaw. But then as more and more T20 games started to play, the target started to get a little bit more refined. So Duckworth Lewis turn, its only rival was a system that is used in India, which is the Vijay method. But I don't think India pushed hard enough for it to be recognized. There was a time when it was delivering better results than Duckworth Lewis turn.
Some say that cricket's already a complicated sport. Are things like DLS further complicating it for newer countries to
Now they
embrace
make
the
it
sport?
easier. I think Duckworth Lewis turn makes it easier. Duckworth Lewis turn makes it a lot fairer. Because otherwise, for a long time, if you look at the history of how rain affected matches, how targets were set, there was a time when if you made 250 in 50 overs, your run rate was 5. So they said, okay, 5 runs an over, you play 20 overs, go and make 100 runs to win. Then if you had that farcical rule in the 1992 World Cup, where you said you will take out the least scoring block of overs. So that is how you needed 22 or 1 over. So if you made 250 in 50 overs, but there was a block of 3 overs in between in which only 1 run was scored, then your target out of 47 overs became 249. And that was a rule that was devised by one of the most respected names in the game. So we discovered after a while that if you're a cricketer, you're very good at playing the game, very good at understanding the technical faults, but you're not always a great mathematician. So let's leave that to the mathematicians who then came up with a target. A lot of people couldn't come to terms with the fact that if you're chasing a score, you have to score more than the other team scored. So if you made 250, my target was 273. And they said, how can I score more than you? But it also includes fairness in it, in that when you started to score, suppose a team made 250 in 48 overs or so, but they started off assuming it was going to be a 50-over game, and it got rained off after 36. So they lost their 14 most productive overs. So if you come back to making it a 36-over game, then the team that is batting second cannot start on the assumption that they're only playing 36. So if after 36 overs you're 200, the algorithm will calculate how much you would have scored if you had 50 overs available to you given the overs that you had lost, and then work out the 36-over target back, which is, it's only fair that that target therefore is more than what the other team has scored, because you have 10 wickets in hand and you're starting with 36 overs. So the mathematical thought behind that wasn't difficult, It was just the equations that put in to arrive at the numbers that that people took time to get used to.
Someday, I hope to watch a conversation between the two Bhogle brothers, because I know that this is a subject that they.
No, my brother called me up one day and he said, if someone else doesn't understand it, that's okay. But you studied mathematics. If you don't understand it, I'll be very disappointed.
Let's send a clip of this conversation to him.
No, he will find faults in this also.
All right, moving on. DK, give us a captain's or a player's perspective, because it does sound very complicated. Would players have it differently, or are they okay with it? Have they accepted it?
It is only complicated if you try and comprehend and try and figure out what the formula is.
Correct.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's up to the match referees will come and tell you this is the score, and it's an accepted norm. And I think by and large, it's very well accepted, well received, because from what they've seen over a period of time, they feel there's a lot of fairness to it. It's fascinating to hear Harsha speak about how it came about, but definitely the DLS method and the VJD method are two very good methods.
Right, let's quickly look back at what happened in the first innings. India batting first were in a bit of a tricky spot at 48 for 3, and then you saw that 138 partnership between Ishan Kishan coming in at number 5 for the first time in his career. Hardik Pandya pressed the reset button, a couple of 80s from them, a few lusty blows from Jasprit Bumrah as well. Jadeja scored 14, only 267 for Pakistan to chase, but unfortunately the rain came in and it poured and poured, and there was no play possible. So this match has been called off. The Asia Cup action continues tomorrow. It will be Bangladesh versus Afghanistan. We'll get a first look at Afghanistan at this Asia Cup. Now Bangladesh, well, they just looked very off color in their first game. Yeah. Learnings, and what do you think they should change in that second game?
Which is the toughest rivalry in the Asia Cup? Is it India versus Pakistan, the most emotional rivalry? Is it India versus Pakistan or Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka, the Nagin derby.
Yeah, but Bangladesh never came there.
Yep.
It was, I mean, Sri Lanka were far too good. I like the way the Sri Lankan side is emerging, but Bangladesh need to get their act together with a lot of their younger players. There's a lot of young players in this Bangladesh side who've been fast-tracked. They played the Under-19 World Cup 2 or 3 years ago. They've been fast-tracked into the side because they're also suffering in injury problems. I think Liton Das is a big loss for them. Tamim Iqbal, you don't know why Tamim Iqbal finds different reasons not to play. Sometimes he's retired, sometimes he's injured, but at the moment he's injured. So they've got all these youngsters in. My concern with them is that the younger players who show a lot of promise are not then going on to become good players. And so when there was a replacement, they've had to go back to
Anamul Haq, yes,
who played many years ago. Yes. So obviously it means there isn't a younger replacement coming in.
Yep.
But just as Shakib and Mushfiqur Rahim and Tamim Iqbal and Mashrafi Murtuza and all those players became very good players from the stage that they were, I'd like to see the Bangladesh younger players start to grow much quicker.
It is a do or die for them because, only 2 games to play in the first round. They've lost their first one. They've got to win this one and win it really big. They call it the group of death. The absence of Liton Das and Tamim Iqbal really makes this batting look really brittle, doesn't it?
Add Mahmudullah as well. I think he was somebody who was the mainstay of the middle order. So if you do look at their team, 3 of their key players are not around. Mahmudullah definitely not part of the squad at all or in the running for the World Cup. The rest of the team have been pretty solid. They had a really good run in the World Cup in the T20 because they found a way to win league matches as well, which they hadn't for a long time. So they are a team which you will hope will do well in the World Cup because they know the conditions better than a lot of other countries. But I do feel at this point of time, Afghanistan is playing slightly better cricket than them.
Let's just put that Bangladesh team up again, just to validate the point that I was saying. You look at players like Mustafizur Rahman. By now, he should have been a wow player. He's just tapered off. He's plateaued off in life. Hassan Mahmood, he started to look good. I don't know where he is at the moment. I've not followed it that much. Afif Hussain looked a good player. He's not suddenly gone on to become a mainstay. Mohammad Naeem looked very good when he came to India. He's not gone on to become the player he should have become. The one player who's grown is Mehdi Hassan Miraj, who's grown from being a bowler who batted to being a bona fide all-rounder, now batting at 7. But other than that, they've not grown through. And I won't be surprised if Afghanistan put it past them because there's some very good players in that Afghanistan side.
Changes. The debutant got out for a duck last game, but you'd want to give him another game at least, or not?
If you're going to chuck people out after one game, then it's very hard on them, yeah?
Right, for you, changes?
Look, I have a feeling they'll go pretty much with the same team. And I only say that because Shanto, who did so well
Did
for
so
them,
well,
has
yeah.
been somebody who's been given a lot of opportunities, and now he's coming good in the last 3 months. The one big bowler for them is Taskin Ahmed. He also got a breakthrough early in the last game as well. So they rely a lot on him. He brings the ball back in. Obviously, their main cricketer is Shakib Al Hasan. He is around which the whole team pivots. And, the last World Cup in 2019, he was such a big factor for them, getting 300s and had a phenomenal World Cup. So he's another key player for them. So Mushfiqur, on the other hand, there are not too many players that they could remove right now, except from the debutant, unless they go in with another spinner. But I think they'll stick to Mehdi Hasan Miraz and the rest of the fast bowlers. But for me, the key would be how Taskin Ahmed starts with the ball and how Shakib Al Hasan does with the bat.
It's got to be Afghanistan's best chance, although they lost the 3 games recently. I don't know what the confidence of the team is like, but they've got to fancy themselves.
Look, against that Pakistan side, and Pakistan played pretty much a full strength side. They ran them very close. In fact, one of the games, it went down to the last over, was 10-11 of the last over. Except for one game that turned out to be a little one-sided. They ran them close.
59 all out.
And there is an intense rivalry between Pakistan and Afghanistan. This Asia Cup really, in spite of being neighbours, it's quite a collection of local rivalries. So from that point of view, what I like about Afghanistan is that the batters have started to get better. And no one symbolized that better than Rahmanullah Gurbaz. I'd like to see Najibullah Zadran get back into form. He's a very, very dangerous player. But when it comes to 50 overs, they've got a lot of others. Good to see good old Mohammad Nabi still around. From the first game that Afghanistan played, I mean, there is history of Afghanistan cricket all in that one person, but it's always been a bowling side. And Noor Ahmed is coming along. Fazal Haq Farooqi is growing. He's a fiery fellow. Mujibur Rahman, Karim Janat is back. By the way, I saw Gulbuddin Naib score runs and take wickets in the last game. He's back too.
He replaced the player and he's done really well for them. A key batter for them is Ibrahim Zadran. He opens the innings. I think he's somebody who has a good technique. He takes his time to play. Also manages to get good scores when he gets going. So Rahmatullah up top along with Ibrahim Zadran make a very good opening combination.
Safe to say Afghanistan start favourites?
I would like to think so, especially with the form that they showed against Pakistan.
You sound like Manish Zadran now.
No, sir. I'm just learning pronunciations from you. Now that you enjoy rattling off these names.
No, the greatest names in cricket come from Afghanistan.
You're very big on talaffuz, aren't you?
You're Rahmanullah Gurbaz. I mean, what do India have? Dinesh Karthik. I mean, look at Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Fazal Haq Farooqi. Look at Manish Batavia.
Royalty, isn't it?
Manish Batavia, Dinesh Karthik, Harsha
Okay,
Bhogle. Look at
let's get Mr. Bhogle's 11 for this game. Only the Afghanistan lineup, and just listen to the beauty of his pronunciations.
Just the names.
Let's pull out the squad, please.
Forget the best names. Let's just go. Forget the best players. Let's go with the Riyaz Hassan and all. You can't be in Riyaz if you're playing for Bangladesh.
Shahidi.
Yeah, Hashmatullah Shahidi, Najibullah Zadran. Great names. Rahmat Shah is a good player, by the way. I think he's just plateaued. But Rahmat Shah is a good, one of the better test match players. Kareem Jannat. I don't know if it's Jannat or Jannat, but
he's an all-rounder who's done really well.
And he can
in
tong
fact,
the
I
ball.
remember he had come for the KKR trials as well. We had a look at him. So he's obviously done well enough in franchisee leagues for other teams to look at him. So here is a team who have obviously been hastily cobbled together at the start of the international cricket, but have grown in stature over the last few years, and they've really become a force to reckon with. If they don't cause a couple of upsets in this World Cup, they should be very disappointed with themselves.
Quick confirmation of why this game is so important for Bangladesh. Let's take a look at the points table. Well, actually, let's just avoid the points table. We've had enough mathematics on the show already.
points table, that's what mathematics. It's a table. That's what mathematics.
It's okay. Let's just see your pretty faces and hear you guys talk. Player to watch out for. One each.
How do you look beyond Rashid Khan? But really what I liked with Mujib Zadran, he scored runs last time. Against Pakistan, one of the games he scored runs too, which means he's growing. I think they're a big partnership and he scored runs in there. So I'm going with Mujib Zadran because he does a difficult job of bowling with a new ball and he started scoring runs at the end.
DK.
For me, Mohammad Nabi, I think he has a good matchup against the Bangladeshi left-handers, and the fact that he can add valuable runs in that middle of the order, bats 5 and 6, plays a critical role for them.
Now that Mr. Bhogle has asked for the points table, we might as well do it. We can't upset him. Look, he's a senior member of our family. So if our graphics person is going to be kind enough, let's just show him the points table. He loves numbers. Let's put it up.
It will come.
No.
It will come. Don't worry. It will come. It will come. Till then you can ask us. There it comes.
So then there you have it. Sri Lanka beat Bangladesh very comfortably. Afghanistan are coming off a series lost, a loss. Bangladesh, well, if they don't win, it's going to be curtains, and then we see them
Look,
at the World Cup.
Suppose Bangladesh beat Afghanistan.
Net run rate.
And then Sri Lanka beat, you will get a... See, in 3-game tournament, the net run rate will come in. Most times, net run rate will come in. In a 10-team IPL, net run rate comes in. In a 3-game, it's bound to be there.
Look, we have a lot more to talk about with Mr. Bhogle, but I suppose he's going to be away for 5 days doing a quiz program. Good life, isn't it?
No. It's long days. Very long days.
Long days?
Good for young anchors like you. No, it's always great
But
fun.
look, he enjoys working with young kids. He's, a young kid being all the young guys who are going to come from schools and look forward to working with Harsha Bhogle. So I'm sure they'll have quite a good quiz competition with Harsha hosting the whole thing.
Since he's not coming for 5 days, let's have a little bit more of him. Let's take a look at the Group A points table. See where things stand with one no result. It's not looking good for Nepal, clearly.
No, Pakistan have got 3 points and they've qualified.
They have qualified. So, yeah, well, India versus
Look,
Nepal.
I keep telling you, the Asia Cup, the groups will always have India and Pakistan in the same group because the Asia Cup is a procedure to allow maximum India-Pakistan games.
Commerce prevails all else.
So India and Pakistan can never be in other groups. India and Pakistan will always be in the same group and you will never have either Sri Lanka or Bangladesh in that group for fear of an upset. Look, what 2007 World Cup did was to ensure that come what may, India and Pakistan's passage has to be safe. So, remember Hong Kong was there once? So, whoever qualifies comes with India and Pakistan.
All that we now need is a buy-in from the weather gods. May we have a full game the next time India and Pakistan play, because the last time they played was 4 years ago at the World Cup. Let's take a look at the games that are left. It's Bangladesh, Afghanistan tomorrow, India, Nepal on Monday, and then the last group game will be Afghanistan versus Sri Lanka in Lahore. And then we'll have a 2-day gap, followed by the Super Fours. So, well, that's it on Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Make sure you join us. But before we say goodbye, I've got a Joy Factor question to give you.
Which Joy Factor? You have two.
The second one, sir.
The one with you in it or the one with Joy in it?
Asli Joy Factor. Mine was Nakli, sir. Let's put up the question first. This cricketer's first international wicket was Roshan Mahanama, caught by Kiran More. His last wicket in a test match where a future India captain made his debut. Name the cricketer, sir.
Future India captain. So, we said it was 86 to 92, right? Because that was when Kiran More played. 86 to 92. Future India captain. Tendulkar started in 89 and became a captain thereafter. So, can I have the question again? Let's try and work it out.
Caught Kiran More, batsman Roshan Mahanama.
Correct. His last wicket came in a test in which Tendulkar made his debut. So it has to be an Indian only, no?
His last wicket came in a test. No.
Okay. Let's just give our viewers the answer. Yay! It is Sachin Tendulkar. Rohit made his
So the future captain was Rohit Sharma. The future captain was Rohit Sharma.
Trust Joy to send us these googlies. It's a tough one.
Put the question again.
Put the question again, Mr. Graphics.
Put the question again. First international wicket was Roshan Mahanama, so that was Tendulkar. Last wicket came in a test where a future India captain, which was Rohit Sharma, made his debut 2013 in Calcutta. So Tendulkar got a wicket in the 2013 test in Calcutta?
Wow.
Okay, maybe he did. What I do know is Tendulkar's first 4 test wickets were all obtained doing different things. One was an off break, one was a leg break, one was a seam up, one was a nip back.
All right, you got it right.
In those days when you put up the graphics, we used to put up the graphics and say Tendulkar right arm medium, he'd come and bowl leg break. So you put up a graphic saying Tendulkar right arm leg spin, his first ball would be off break. So you could never put a graphic because he would bowl what he wanted to.
Oh, well, who got it right? Let's have the name of the winner on screen now very quickly. Rajesh Reddy. Presumably from your part of the world, sir.
Manode. And even Karthik garu.
See, these intellectual people down south always make themselves proud. So well done, Rajesh Reddy. So do they get a hi from you?
Manara.
Okay. So the same thing to all of you as well. As we say goodbye, it's been a long day without a result, but cricket does that to all of us. So see you at 2:30 p.m. on Cricbuzz Live with Joy Bhattacharya and Dinesh Karthik. And good luck to Mr. Bhogle for a marathon quiz shoot. Sir, have a good one.
Thank you.